Welcome to the inter-regional level of the Great Debaters Contest. I am Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Nyambok.
Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab are just a few of the names we think of when we talk about insecurity in Africa. So today we are asking if we need to form a unitary army to deal with these threats.
Proposing the motion, we have Sacho High School, and opposing the motion, we have Nembu Girls High School. Both teams have clearly stated that they have nothing but love for each other. And well, let love prevail in the debate.
The motion this week is Africa should have a single unitary army to address security issues in the continent. Proposing the motion, Sacho High School. Opposing the motion, Nembu Girls High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
The first proposer begin. You have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the house at large, it is said, birds can fly over your head. You can't stop them, but you can stop them from building nests over your head. Let's visualize Africa as a whole continent with border lines, with territorial lines, and everything. Stop. I'm Jabez Nzomo from Sacho High School, going to argue why we can prevent birds from building nests over our heads. Let's go back to our map. We visualized Africa as a continent with all border lines. Now let's remove the border lines as a continental place with a unified army formed to counter and resist forces that are acting within the continent and problems such as security. It is high time we live according to Kwame Nkrumah's vision of forming a united Africa that is able to act and solve over problems that are facing this society. And giving examples is the militia, giving examples such as Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, and other sects like M23 that are causing disruptions of economic growth that are leaving African countries small and weak, and they're falling prey to exploitation from countries outside Africa. It is high time we form a united army, and checking by the figures that show clearly we're able to deal with this amount. South Saharan is able to produce 2 million men and women armed, including North Africa. It will bring about 4 million. And yet we have not considered Central Africa. What if we consider Central Africa? And it makes me laugh when I compare this figure to the figure of this militia. It makes me laugh. Why? You compare these figures. Why are the governments of these specific countries failing to be able to solve these problems? It's simply because of corruption. They have no trained personnel. That may be a contributing factor. But as a formed united Africa, an army, it will be able to resolve an exchanging of ideas to bring up an idea that is going to be able to solve this. Another thing is by governments and dictators who threaten to form colonies in Africa. That's a problem that we say it's facing us. We cannot say that we face colonization from the Western countries only. Giving the example of Mikhail Ismail from Egypt, he threatened to form Egypt, to extend Egypt to Kabaka. And those who do history, it's one of the reasons why Kabaka Mutesa collaborated with the British. And so, how are we sure the probability of this occurring is 0? This might occur. And as a country, are you sure that a government is going to be able to solve this? So, as I conclude, it is time we live according to Muammar Gaddafi's role. and plans for Africa, that we all want a united Africa, united not only in our concept of what unity connotes, but united in our common desire to move forward together, dealing with all the problems that can best be solved only on a continental basis. I set my debate on there. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to give us your opening statements.
Before you is Anya Mbura from Nembu Girls High School, standing here to strongly oppose the motion that states that African countries should have a single unitary army to address issues of insecurity within the continent. As I was seated there, I wondered. Our proposers simply say that in our country and most of the African countries, we have corrupt leaders. That's why you're not capable of solving the issues among our countries. And I was wondering, when this army is formed, who are going to lead the army? Is it not the African leaders who he clearly claims are corrupt? I wondered. When you start discussing about our history, this is something that has been tried and something that has definitely not worked. Why then should you waste our resources on it again? For example, the African Union formed an army, but currently we see other countries driving away from the army simply because it's not sufficient enough to rule our continent. When you look at our enemies today, Somalia has a different enemy, Al-Shabaab. When you look at Nigeria, you have Boko Haram, and we look at Ghana, you have M23. What if these enemies decide to come together to fight us as a continent? Will we not be creating another war? So I prefer standing alone and fighting my battles as an individual, other than risking other people's lives by joining to involve them in our problems. I believe in our African leaders. I believe that if we stand as a country and decide that we as a country will fight the terrorists that we have, then we can do it. Why then should we go a mile ahead and distract other countries' economy who are not even facing the insecurity that we are facing? Why destroy the economy? I call that selfishness. If we decide as African to stand together as a nation, if we decide as a country to stand together and fight terrorism and insecurity, we can do it. If these people come together, they'll have slow decision making. Let's say in Kenya, for example, if we have a terrorism attack right now, we as the army in Kenya will be able to fight them in a rather quick manner than before we consult the hierarchy of those people who will come from the single unitary army to come and defend us. It simply cannot happen. I stand here to strongly oppose that we should not form a unitary army to address security issues within our country. If you don't believe in your leaders, I wonder why you elected them into power. That means that you as an individual, you're not capable enough of running your own country. So let us stand as individuals and settle these issues as individuals. Thank you.
We'll now begin to get rebuttals. Proposing team, you have 3 minutes.
54 countries, 54 armies. 54 countries, 1 army. What is your preference? First of all, I'd like to oppose from what the first opposer said. She said that M23 is from Ghana. M23 is a rebel from DRC. And she also said that we have corrupt leaders. But don't we also have leaders that stand after the footsteps of Nelson Mandela? And she also said that countries in Africa do not face insecurity. But she should tell me which country in Africa has never faced insecurity issues. First, I'd like to say that I propose to the motion that says Africa should have a single unitary unit to face its continental issues. This is because over the past years, we have had countries that have things like EAC, IGAD, that are supposed to help in curbing insecurity issues. But have they done their responsibilities? No, they have not. We still have insecurity, and it is even in the rise, even as we talk. Look at the case of Peketoni in Lamu. So I think we have had enough. we should have another alternative, and this is forming the Africa's unitary army that should help solve these issues. Furthermore, I'd like to say that a single unitary army is a stronghold that we should take up to. Look at the case of Soviet Union in the Eurasia part of the Russian countries. They had a single unitary army, and look where they are. The economic is very stable, not like ours of Africa. So I think if we take on that, we are able to also defend what we have. We are able to defend our resources from corrupt people, everything that we have, our tourism, our people, our heritage, which is also being taken up by people who are trying to come in and just dissolve everything that we have. Lastly, I'd also like to say it is a source of employment. Many youths out there are just wasting their energies because they do not have employment. They are going under the religion of rebellion, drugs, and everything. That is not a good instance because that is a prospective talent that is going to waste. I think that they should be recruited into the army. They should fight for Africa. This makes them patriotic. This shows that Africa is no longer going to be a third world country, that we can rise and we can fight for what we have. All the issues that we have can also be taken. And also, we have countries that have rivalry and antipathy between them. Look at the case between Kenya and Somalia. We have been fighting for a long time. I think if we form a unitary army, we can help solve this because the unitary army will dissolve all these issues that we have, and we will solve this by making sure that there is peacekeeping within Africa. So I think Africa is going to be more stable, and there's going to be economic growth if we continue with a single unitary army. Thank you.
Opposers, you have 3 minutes for a rebuttal.
In life, so many things can make you laugh, including unreasonable equations. I say 54 African countries, 54 different armies. Well and good, quite a complete equation. But remember, 15 corrupt countries, 40 non-corrupt countries. It's always say that, show me your friend, I tell you who you are. Merging African countries that are not corrupt with the countries which are not corrupt is an obvious reason of making these all countries corrupt. Then how will that unitary military work? Ladies and gentlemen, Janet Otari from Nembu Girls High School. We have just been told that the youth are wasting their energies because they are unemployed. What are they wasting their energies on if they're not doing any kind of jobs? I wonder. The more reason why these unemployed youths should be trained in our countries to form military armies that will be very, very strong, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to fight for us in our own countries. Forming a unitary army simply means that we'll have one commander-in-chief. And we all know that the one who heads an army is a president, if I'm not wrong. Though we all don't do history, according to what my opponent said. Anyway, it's that obvious. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am saying that this unitary army should not be formed. And on to my first point, the commander-in-chief. We are all very much aware that even in our individual countries, we have had difficulties choosing our own leaders. For instance, where we are, Kenya is a very good example. We have a president, yes we do. But we still have that rivalry for that seat of becoming the president. Nigeria has the same difficulty. So South Sudan, on the other hand, do not even want a government. So tell me, how are we going to elect one leader to head the whole of Africa if we have failed to do it from where we are? Charity begins from somewhere, and that is home. The higher time you start thinking, the better for Africa. Thank you.
My question is this. If a smaller group has failed to perform its duties, how will a bigger one military system, manage?
I'm Ahmed Mohammed from Light Academy. My question goes to the first proposer. Someone talked about joining armies solving insecurity problems in Africa. Take, for example, this is a paper with a hole. It has a weakness. Now you join another one. It has also another weakness. You want to tell me this has solved the problem? Each army has its own problems, and joining a problem plus a problem does not form a solution. Thank you.
I'm Elmad from Olympic High School. My question goes to the second opposer, who say that South Sudan does not want a government. It's quite painful to hear that from a senior debater. Now, I'd like kindly that you give us proof that South Sudan does not want a government. Thank you.
Mohammed Abdullahi from Light Academy. My question goes to the second opposer, interestingly enough. Taking 15 countries that are not corrupt and then combining with 40 countries that are corrupt, it will be being unfair to the 15 countries that are not corrupt. Give us any single example of an African country that is not corrupt.
The third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
I shall begin by answering the questions. And the answer to the first question is, learning from mistakes is mandatory for success. I believe we're even taught that in schools. You're supposed to learn from your errors so that you can build up and make a success. So I believe that answers the first question. And the second question, I would like to state that the strength of one should complement the weakness of another. You take a paper in a paper. You take more papers, more papers, more papers. You take a book. Try rip a book. Isn't it harder? Take a brick and a paper. Try rip that. Isn't that harder? And I believe all of us do sciences here. We should know that formation of alloys involves joining things together to make them stronger. Now, I'd also like to cross-examine the opposers. She said that so many things can make you laugh, including what my fellow proposer said. But when she stated that, nobody laughed. I wonder why. She also said that merging countries that are not corrupt with countries that are not corrupt. I believe your point was lost over there. Thirdly, when they have energy but it doesn't go into development, you're asking about energy. Energy they have, but it doesn't go into the development of a country. It can go into social vices, misgivings, and crimes. That's where energies go. Fourthly, you talked about for those who do not do history. He clearly stated for those who do history. He specified for those who do history. Fifthly, he said that the president is the head of the army, which is true. But don't we consider kings in other parts of Africa? Isn't King Mswati the head of his own army? And sixthly, we say the army will not be headed by one leader. It will be headed by a hierarchy of administration. You take a big government and you take a local Juakali industry. One person can be in charge of his own ideas here in the Juakali industry, but a big industry, a big organization needs a hierarchy of administration to keep it working. That is my cross-examination. I'd like to end by saying, I would like you all right now to visualize Africa, visualize a map. I believe the Strathmore University Internet here is good. You can visualize a Google map of Africa and open where Sierra Leone are, Angola, Liberia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zimbabwe. Look at how green it is, the lush forest. Now imagine that green covered with red, and not such red, the deep, dark, ominous red of human blood. Blood shed through death and mutilation. I'd like to take instances of Sierra Leone up to 2002. 20,000 innocent people were mutilated, 75,000 were killed, and 2 million, imagine 2 million fled from Sierra Leone altogether. 2 million people, 2 million, running away from Sierra Leone because of one group known as the Revolutionary United Front of Sierra Leone, because of blood diamond trade. I believe that a unitary army can rise above being guided by rich individuals within Africa to rise above such things as blood diamond trade. And I'd like to leave you by saying this. Buying a single chair is easier than buying the entire Ken Poly company. I believe it is easier for people to buy their way into one army then buy their way into our entire African army. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Beryl from the Nembu Girls High School. On to the first question. Somebody asked why she stated Southern Sudan. Sorry, human is to error. So she meant Somalia. To the second question, the legendary Mohammed asked something to do with corruption. Why are examples of African countries that are not faced with corruption? Well, Malawi is one of the African countries that faced the least cases of corruption reported. 40 countries are corrupt. Hence, we cannot allow loopholes, especially when it comes to corruption cases. Security actually hits back on the economy of a nation. Hence, allowing loopholes, that is allowing 40 countries out of the 55 that are corrupt to join hands with the 15 countries that are not corrupt to form a unitary army will mean the struggle of African survival. Hence, it will lead to even colonization. However, we as the opposers have come up with solutions to these problems that are facing African countries. Using a unitary army will not help African countries in solving the problem of security in Africa. Hence, choosing honest and liable leaders will help African countries move to the next level in curbing problems of insecurity within African states. Also, adapting up-to-date measures when it comes to solving security issues. For example, African countries such as South Africa, they face the least number of insecurity cases. How? They have trained their military personnel using up-to-date equipment and up-to-date training so that they can be able to curb the problem of insecurity in Africa. Also, we should provide equal employment opportunities to the youths within Africa. Examples that we've been given of Boko Haram and the Al-Shabaab are made up of the youth who are unemployed. However, if the government comes together and provides equal employment opportunity to this youth, then we will be able to curb the problem of insecurity. Why are we insecure? Because we do not have any other thing to do apart from fight our government. The coups that we face within African states are because of the unemployment. Guys they are just hanging around. They do not have any other thing to do. Hence, insecurity. Thank you.
Closing statements now from the proposers. You have a minute.
Aesop said, in union, there is strength. Margaret Carty said, the nice thing about teamwork is that you always have others on your side. J.K. Rowling said, we are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. And yours truly said, give me a bodyguard, I'll feel safe. Give me a soldier, I'll feel safe and secure. But give me an entire army, and I'll sleep easy. Don't you want to sleep easy knowing that there's an entire army out there ready to protect you, working day and night to stop such evils, such as the Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab destroying our African nations? Don't you want to finally log on to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook and see that the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls has been eradicated and people are happy once more? I believe that the bringing together of one unitary African army can do that. For the proposers, this has been Sean Armstrong Otieno, signing off. Good day.
Proposers, you also have a minute for your final submission.
All said, all had. Remember, you don't keep all your eggs in one basket. What if you trip and fall? All the eggs break. One unitary army is more chaos and more crisis to Africa. If these enemies we have, the Boko Haram, you say, the Al-Shabaab, and branch of Al-Shabaab like Al-Qaeda, and the M23, unite to fight us, trust me, we all go down as African countries. And this will affect countries like Malawi, which do not have security issues. Why affect other countries? Yet we can have solutions to take care of these cases within our own countries. Provide employment to the youth, you provide a peaceful country. A country that will develop, not only security-wise, but also in other things like infrastructure. And I'll also love to tell my dear opponents that not all of us Facebook or tweet. Thank you.
I think this time around, Nembu Girls, there was lack of teamwork. That was evident. The team only produces one strong character. And believe you me, one character cannot ensure that the team wins. The other two, I don't know if you reshuffle the members or the other time you came, you are much stronger than this time round. Beryl, you're fairly a good debater, but you have a lot of growing to do as a debater. And that also goes for Anne. And my word of advice is when you're the first speaker for your team, raise the issues. Leave rebuttal possibly for Janet. She will do the rebuttal. Raise more issues for your team because you are constructing a case for your team. And what you want to hear is some of the issues that you are going to raise. Janet, you're a good speaker, definitely a good debater. Nonetheless, this time around you met your match in Sean Armstrong. Sean Armstrong. And as the name suggests, he's actually strong. And he was able to possibly offer rebuttal where necessary. I thought that at some point maybe you could come and reinforce whatever thing you said and say, this is actually our position. We have not shifted on this particular position. Nonetheless, it was a fair debate from you.
To Sacho High, great debate. I think you're showing us that there's a lot of good that happens outside of Nairobi. I think to Jabez, at some point you were nervous, and I don't know what happened. Maybe you had crammed certain facts, and you were struggling to look for them on the notepad. One of the ways in which you do that is don't try to put too many ideas in your mind. Just take a few and focus on those and elaborate on those if you're to debate. Cynthia, again, very composed, but I would like you to connect with the audience. You have this one facial expression for the 3 minutes. It would be nice for you to smile a little, engage with the audience, make a few facial expressions so that the audience can connect with you. But having said that, that was a great debate. Sean, at least I got your name right. A great debater, and I believe it can only get better. All the best.
Anne, you did well. Janet, you're actually very good and very strong in your team. Beryl, you also gave your best. However, just work on a little bit of coherency so that you come out a little bit stronger and help the entire team come out with a bang, if I may use that word. Sacho, what I would want to say is that Jabez, you started out very well. Thank you so much. You were not intimidated. You're very confident, and that this goes across to the entire team. Cynthia, very confident as well. You come and give your submissions very well, and the fact that you're mixed in terms of gender, I think that's also a compliment. Sean, you're extremely, you're in your own level. I think what really captured me is your emotional engagement with us when you're making your submissions, when you came forth as the speaker, as that speaker. That was very good. And sometimes when you take the angle of involving the audience emotions, that is a plus. You move the debate. So thank you so much, and all the best to the two teams.
I see the teacher from Sacho in the audience smiling all the way, and as well he should, because they are the winners of this debate. They have 71.2%. Please give them a hand. That does not take anything away from the good work that Nembu High have done. They have 64.6%. It's a good effort from both of them. Who knows who we'll see in the next round. But from all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, we'll see you next time. My name is Mariam Bishar.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, the Great Debaters. May the best school win.